Yes, sir. Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to be here tonight in person and on live television. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on March 9, 2020, at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on March 3rd, 2020, at 4 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041-551-050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. We do have the presence of a quorum at this time. Notice has been duly posted as required by law. Present today in person, we have Mr. Dave Botter, myself, Mr. Friedman, and Mr. Donahue. Joining the meeting, we have Mr. Starkey and Dr. Lalonde in the future. Let me please have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, please bless this day and let us just have a wonderful meeting and help us get through this construction activity with minimal hiccups. We'll say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Let's move along to item 4. Item 3, invitation to the audience for public comments, staff, board, Zoom.
Yeah, I'd like to mention something. I think it was on the first, we had that incident of the water outage. And I was under the impression that we had 2 legs of water normally that are supposed to go to the island. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, and I know when that took place, we didn't. So that we only had 1 leg of water going. So I would just encourage us as a board to make sure that this is happening, but for you guys too, that the number 1 priority would happen if both legs were not connected. I would like to think that our first priority would be to make sure that that second leg is connected. So I would even run the risk of delaying outside contractors, any other project, if there's a risk at all that we would find ourselves with 0 water to the island. And I know part of that is valving, that we didn't understand where some of the valving was because it was older stuff, but and I'm not saying it wasn't a priority for you, but I would love for it to be the top of the priority list, that there was always 2 legs of water going to the island, because it was a considerable distraction to the island, having the water down the way it was for as long as it was. So I just wanted to put that, we talked a little bit about it that night, but I just wanted to put that in your guys' ears as you, begin to make a plan for the future. If there was a checklist, I would put that at the top of the checklist. The second thing that came to my mind that night was, I'm not sure who all of our contractors are. So, and I'm not sure if you guys have like a handheld list of, I can get parts from X, Y, and Z in 30 minutes, of everyone in the valley. If you don't, I do that at work. So if you don't, I would encourage you to have that. It's easy to get parts at 9 in the morning. It's really hard to get parts at 9 at night. So I would encourage you to reach out. We can reach out to us, reach out to me for other contacts, but to be able to make a phone call and get a part in an hour at 9:30 at night is a lifesaver. And it could have happened that night. So for that particular fix. So just in the future, just you guys worked your butts off, and there was guys in holes and there was mud flying, and I appreciated the fact that you got it done when you did. But I would just think about that for the future. So that's all for my comments.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
For adding to that. And I also would like to express, we're getting, I think, more proactive in responding and explaining the situation to everyone.
Yeah.
And what's going on. I think that's most important. when it's emergency, it's an emergency, and if things are working and they work themselves out, but also letting people know what, why, and how, and the steps we're taking through.
Yeah.
I compliment the staff and district and Victor getting out there post emergency, what's going on, because that's also important.
Yeah, it was great. And you guys were very responsive to all of us, when we were calling, talking, because, we were getting phone calls from outside agencies too, or from, characters on the island. So we were getting phone calls and questions. So I appreciate the fact that, man, you guys were communicating with us really well. I just would encourage us to.
We've just had it happen a number of times
I
in
know.
a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And, and everyone wants an explanation.
Right. Yeah, and they see it as one continuous problem when it really is a
Every problem is
travesty of errors.
different.
I agree. I agree.
Every
Yeah.
problem is unique.
So anyway, that was all I wanted to say. And I wanted to encourage you guys to be prepared in that way.
Anyone else want to add to public comments?
Yeah, I would like to chime in here. Jason Starkey, board member via Zoom.
Yes. You're not driving.
So
Pull over.
I am driving carefully.
Everyone's safety.
So I too was involved the night in question, and I logged in here somewhat late, so I didn't get to hear everything that board member Bowder went over, but he and I have talked somewhat extensively on this topic. And the only thing I would add, I'm ignorant to the legs, if you will, of water that carry and extend service to the island. There's two always, the evening in question, Dave and I talked, and it sounded like there's always supposed to be two, and for some time there was only one, and then something occurred that compromised that one, which compromised service to the entire island. And if that be the case, I'm operating under the presumption that that's generally speaking what potentially happened. Our redundant line wasn't flowing for some time.
Main line.
Yeah, so I've been to almost all these meetings. My attendance isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. And never once do I recall in any general presentation or update of events was this ever brought up on the public sector that, hey, we got one of our two lines down, our main line down, going to try to rectify it, whatever. And so when this situation occurred and we're all fielding calls as elected members of this board, I felt quite ignorant because I didn't know the extent of what was going on, why it happened, that we'd been out of the main line for a period of time because it never got brought up. So I want to further encourage everyone in this district to make sure that we're adequately notified in our board meetings what's going on and what we're doing to try to rectify the situation. Because I too have seen you guys on your work ethic and your commitment to excellence. But once again, communication at every level, I think can help, at least in these times of need, put out fires before they ever start. So I don't like being placed in a position where I'm fielding calls and I don't have answers, and I really don't even have any knowledge of why the situation occurred. So I want to put that out there. Thank you.
Anyone else adding anything? Sharing anything? Thank you. Let's move along to item 4, consider and discuss for possible approval of the minutes for the regular meeting from February 23rd, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second for approval by Mr. Donahue, second by Mr. Water. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, general manager's report. Carlos?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I want to bring up again that update on March 1st outage. That I know it's one of those things that makes some people upset because we don't have the water provided to certain areas, especially the island, especially on the time of high business. But as we understand that that part of the line that was broken was due to that contractor that, and again, we don't have all the list of the contractors that are out there because they're subcontractors to possibly AP or Spectrum and other utilities. The only thing that I can say is that we repaired that water line on the causeway, under the causeway a while back, and then it ruptured again. So we had the opportunity after all the contractors were done, which was last Friday. Wasn't it?
That's
Last
correct.
Friday, that we had the opportunity to go in, because they didn't want to let us go in until they completed their part of the job, which was metal painting under the bridge, that they didn't want to compromise with us going in there, probably messing something up. So they assisted us in getting the structure in the bottom to get those pipes fixed. So we did to a certain level. Once we repaired those two pipes that we could get to, we turned everything back on, thinking that everything was back to normal, and that pipe busted again. So as we speak, we're trying to get that repaired again, where the further part we can't reach. So we are looking into that truck, the
That's
Snoop truck, the one that extends to the bottom.
It's like, makes like a circular
And
shape underneath the
looks
bridge.
like we found one locally here, in talking to Robert and Noe, that is gonna help us out. We're possibly trying to get it as soon as next week, or what was the schedule on that, Robert?
Okay, we talked to a contractor this morning and he provided some information. He's gonna look at giving us two quotes. One is doing a platform under the, where the leak is at, because it's beyond the current platform that the other contractors have. So we're not able to get to that leak. Or he's gonna see if he can get a Snoop truck, but that Snoop truck has to be 60 feet. So we can extend 60 feet to be able to get to the leak itself. In the meantime, we're also working with the contractor that currently has the platform to see if he can provide something for us. And so he should be getting sometime soon back. Did he ever get back to you?
No, sir.
So that's part of the problem, is that we're having communication problems with him as well, but we are working on that. And we did talk to the gentleman this morning, told him that we need to repair that after spring break, but before Holy Week. So that's where we're at right now, and we're waiting for him to give us a quote tomorrow morning.
Do we actually make the repairs ourselves?
Yes, sir.
Do we have guys who are comfortable going under a bridge there?
They've been in there.
One asked him to do something, I haven't done myself.
Yeah, that was my thought on it. I wouldn't be brave enough to
Well,
go under the bridge.
anyhow.
We had the distribution crews.
There's trolls and things that live under bridges. I don't.
Carlos, we talked before too, are you going to pursue that? I remember we couldn't find, you said you couldn't find that valve, the 10-inch pipe.
Yes, I know that Joel is still looking into that, where the 10-inch valve is at, and if not, we'll just have to wait to install a new one or abandon that line from the connection.
Yes.
Well,
We're just hoping that spring break goes by and Joel can go out there and work on it.
So is it like
we
dripping
did.
right now?
Dripping?
Yeah.
No, it's
No.
it's closed.
It's got
Uh,
a bridge on the
The
other
water
one.
line under the
The
causeway
causeway's closed.
is closed. It was it just became a large leak, not a small one anymore. So saying that it's closed, we have one leg going to the island, and hopefully we'll get the second leg.
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying in the beginning comments, I would make that the most priority of all priorities, that the second leg gets done before we try to accomplish anything else. Because it's just, it's so tenuous when that other leg goes out like it did on the first, then, then there's nothing to the island. It's not like,
And we understand that,
Yeah.
Mr. Bowder. Unfortunately, we didn't have a choice. The contractor that was working under the bridge would not allow us to go in there because he was doing some sandblasting and painting under the bridge. and he didn't want us in there compromising his work.
And that's a state contract.
Yeah.
That's a state contract.
They tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But again,
Exactly.
we are looking into third leg. Somehow or another, we're gonna have to look into that for the future purposes because the island is growing. We may need another large 24-inch line going across. So I told Charles, our engineer, to look into it and see how much it would cost to get another line back that way. So in saying all this, we're just sorry that that happened at that time and
No, I mean, that's behind us.
Yeah,
It's just about making sure in the future.
yeah, we
We're
have to keep
prepared.
looking
We're looking
forward
at
and
that.
trying to correct and make better everything that we have.
So we gotta do a lot of praying between now and the end of spring. break. How else go forward, right?
We did have an internal meeting with the customer service and distribution manager and his assistant and administration. And we are trying to figure out, iron out some procedures and get them in place. Back to your question, Mr. Donahue, on the 10-inch line, the valve. There was a valve that was found and presumably it is for the 10-inch line, but it's a butterfly valve. And as old as it is, it doesn't close properly. It stays open. So that's the problem with the valve, because there were no other valves that in doing the
So I mean,
search.
is that something you just change out or?
No, well, you could if you had another leg of water, but you don't have another leg of water, so you can't shut that leg off.
How long does it take to change something like that out?
Well, that line is capped, and at this point, we're not going to do anything with it.
Can't now, but
It's an old line. It's not going anywhere at this point. And so for now, it's as it is with the cap that was put in there.
We have to cap it closer to the 24-inch line
Right.
instead of having a long pipe where then somebody else can break it again. We just kept it off right at the 24-inch line.
and we're gonna prove,
And
as we talk, we're gonna proceed on looking at the insurance still.
Oh, yes, sir. That's
As far as
still in
liability.
process right now. We always get refunded for all that. We do have a new department with Eddie that does the claims, and they've been pretty good at it. We've received some funds that we probably lost, thinking like we're not gonna get that fund again. And he's pursued and pursued. We're talking about Sammy Reyes. He's been doing a good job for the district. So he's been pursuing it and getting funds back, putting pressure on the late charges or delinquent charges. So we're doing better on that part.
Aren't those contractors mandated to do like the dig alert, like I do at the golf course?
They do. It's mandatory.
Did they
that
on this
call
one?
811.
Did they on this one?
Yes, back in February, February 22nd? They did. And they were told approximately where the line was, because like I said, that's an old line. We really didn't know exactly where it was at. But the law also states that they have a right to dig. In doing so, they need to do a soft dig. And that is shovel or
Yeah,
hydro dig.
Sure.
And they didn't do that.
And we just came from a conference that emphasized all of that information, that they're available to help and assist all over the state of Texas with the 811 calling. And we just brand new conference that we went to, and it was like very amazing where people have to call in before they do. So it's just a matter of us probably putting in our Facebook and our website, emphasizing for all contractors and developers, to get that call in before they do. So that's another process that we need to proceed and do.
Yep.
Any other questions on?
Okay. Thank you, Carlos. Let's move on. Item 6, Director of Operations report.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The February of 2022 operations report compared to February of 2021. There were more service calls and call outs in February of 2021 compared to February of 2022 by 78. And most of them were categorized in the area of customer service and distribution. And that goes down to classified in the area of water taps. There were less water taps for this February. They had less work service calls for meter boxes, to work on meter boxes, and informational as well. And there was also leak repairs. There was a lot less leak repairs this year than there were.
Because of the freeze, right?
Yes. Well, not all. In the collections area, also the service calls and call outs for 2021 were 6 service calls higher than there were this February. And those were categorized in call outs and follow ups, which are classified under the area of sewer taps. There were less sewer taps and preventive maintenance this year, as well as sewer backups than last year. In the pre-treatment and lift station category, there were 10 less removal of fogs in the lift stations, which means that they're doing a pretty good job throughout the year and keeping those lift stations clean. And also pumps to dereg. Those were, they didn't have any for February of 2022, where they had to the previous years. That concludes the report. Do you have any questions? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, District Engineers Report, lift station 37 on Osler Trail, service update.
So just wanted to give an update on the electrical service. I'm sure you've seen the bypass pump still running out there. And they did install that transformer. And about a week ago, they were going to show up to install the meter. And then AEP told us they needed a disconnect on their side of the meter, which basically within the past year, they've updated AEP standards. Our contract plans were prepared for this new standard was issued. And within the past couple of weeks, they decided to implement a standard that was not implemented at our lift station that was Eaton. So basically, that kind of puts a hold on getting that electrical service going, because now we need to get a new 400 amp meter disconnect on AEP side of the meter with their lock. And so basically, there's a lead time associated with that, additional bypass pumping that needs to continue with it. And so basically, we're at the point of negotiating with the contractor, how to proceed with that. And so on Tuesday, we had got their pricing, which I just handed out here on your desk. As far as, it seems like we're not the only ones getting hit with this. From what I've heard, other contractors have been getting hit with this new disconnect requirement within the past couple of weeks. So it's one of these where we're trying to get them to break down and justify their costs to officially present this at the next meeting. But we're their first quote here that we rejected. We asked them to give us a breakdown. It was $17,000 for the disconnect, and then now the additional bypass time from February 14th to April 8th. That's about $34,000 diesel bypass operations.
So that's just paying the guy in the truck to sit there and watch it.
Yes. So this first round rejected, they need to support it, and we're trying to see what we can get back. And that's basically the update.
And this doesn't fall on them.
No, and that's AEP is really the one causing this delay at this stage. So it's really not something.
When did they put this in effect?
within the past couple of weeks. I mean, our lift station ones, we were looking.
Is there anything like grandfather deal where you already had started this thing or anything?
I think at this point, with AP, I think you'd be pushing their buttons a little harder. They can be doing more at this stage.
Yeah.
Trying to get a grandfather in. I think that's just more of the.
It's the people at number 2 Ocelot Trail that are pushing my buttons.
Yes.
Yeah. So hearing that pump go on that.
So, I don't know if Joey wants to add any more to it or.
So once we give it a thumbs up, how long does it take?
That's just it. I mean, we're estimating April 8th before the disconnect even shows up. I mean, that's how this bypass timing is based.
It's terrible.
That's basically for
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Charles. Director of Finance Report, Investments, Eddie?
We had one CD mature in February, and this CD was valued at $405,000 plus interest with Texas Regional Bank. Matured on February 25th, and this had funds from our bond reserve funds. So this CD had expiring rates of 0.30 and a term of 1 year. The rates in the market have been rising this year. So we solicited 22 banks. We got 3 offers returned, and we had one clearly outstanding offer for 1 year of 1.05 interest. Yeah. So this was more than 4 times higher than the solicitation that we received in December. So that one was 0.22. So the CD was placed with that bank, the East West Bank.
Thank you. Moving on to item 9. Consider and discuss possible approval of the financial reports for December 2021.
Yeah, if you want, I could just give you a quick summary. Water and sewer services are slightly below budget, maybe about 3%, but our taps are keeping us above. Those are exceeding our budget at this time, at this point in the year. And so right now, we're pretty much on track as far as revenues.
Yes, we need to acknowledge and so
Yes.
Acknowledged.
acknowledge. By Mr. Water, Dr. Lalonde, myself, Mr. Friedman, and Mr. Donahue. Is Starkey still on or off? You got it. Okay. All present have acknowledged. Moving to item 10, consider and discuss possible approval of the financial reports for January 2022. Yes, acknowledgement. Or, excuse me, it is an approval. Yes, excuse me. Approval made by Dr. Lalonde, seconded by Mr. Donahue. Are all those in favor? Aye. They are. Are there any opposed? None. Motion carries. Take this to item 11. Consider and review the expenditures from February 16th, 2022 to February 28th, 2022. Questions or comments about any of the expenditures in particular or as a whole?
Acknowledged.
Acknowledged by Dr. Lalonde, acknowledged by Mr. Morris, acknowledged by Mr. Donahue, and acknowledged by Mr. Friedman. That takes us to item 12, that adjourns this meeting at 6 p.m. exactly.